achieving things that we all dream of. You've got 300s on the bounce for Perth in first grade to start the season.
I guess I have a bit of a point to prove. That really helps fuel me to do better. I actually felt quite nervous because I was like, geez, I'm actually expected to get 300s. Like everyone's like, oh, try and get 3. I play better when I'm more competitive and have something to play for, I guess. What I've done well to, I guess, score those runs, just keep trying to replicate that as much as I can.
G'day legends and welcome back to the Cricket Mentoring Podcast. We have a cricket mentoring athlete and a cricket mentoring mentor, one of the boys I have worked with for a very long time, back on the show. Joel Curtis, welcome back to the Cricket Mentoring Podcast.
Thanks, Scholes. Thanks for having me.
I think we've had you on at least once, maybe twice before, and not too dissimilar conversation last time. So we've got you in not so much to talk about your journey, but to talk about where you're at right now, because you're in a purple patch. You're sort of achieving things that we all dream of. You've got 300s on the bounce for Perth in first grade to start the season. Scores of 100 not out in the first game against Joondalup, 138 caught on the boundary, and then last weekend you backed it up with a third 101 at a runner ball against Claremont. You just look unstoppable at the moment. Tell us a little bit about what it's like, what you're going through at the moment. And I say it's not too dissimilar because last time we had you on, you'd just come back from England where you'd absolutely smashed the record for the most runs in the Middlesex League. I think it was 1,250 odd runs. You got 500s, and you're unstoppable in that period. You're going through a similar period. So, yeah, what's it like at the moment?
It's pretty hard to explain, I guess, but yeah, I would say it's pretty similar to that type of mindset I was in England when I was doing really well, and I guess I just been able to get back into that, and like when you're in a good form or a purple patch, like as everyone knows, it feels pretty, I guess things fall your way and you do things effortlessly, and you don't, I guess, overthink things as much. So it feels good, and I feel like it's just, I guess, more hard work paying off. Like I had a really good pre-season and did a few things, went to Darwin, went to Queensland and played some T20 cricket. So I guess it, and just going on from last season as well, I felt like I did really well. And
well, let's go back to last season. You did well for Perth and you did well in second 11. You got 100 at the Wacker in second 11 against the ACT, I think it was. And you got rewarded with a Shield match. You played one Shield game. I think at the time WA dropped Philippi. He wasn't getting the runs at that stage. You got your opportunity against Queensland at the Gabba. Tell us about that experience. What an amazing experience. I think it was Bangers that presented you your cap. Tell us about that whole experience of playing Sheffield Shield cricket.
Yeah, it was... it's pretty, I guess, it was hard not to get caught up in it, but because you've also got to try and tell yourself that you belong at that level, and because obviously you want to do well, and it was a pretty amazing experience. Just like, I guess, everything around the game, like flying over there, you get in the Qantas lounge and you get like a big coach to the game and everything around it, and all the support that you have, and the players that you're playing with and versing. So it was a pretty amazing experience, and my parents came over for it, so they were probably more excited than I was. It was good to obviously have them there and make them proud of, I guess, everything they've done for me. It was obviously didn't go as well as expected. It was just an amazing experience to get a go at that level, and hopefully can get back there.
Absolutely. Well, you're doing everything in your power, I guess, to get back there. How did you juggle this, like, oh man, I'm playing professional cricket, I'm with Cameron Green at first slip, and such great players against great players in the Queensland team? Was Khawaja played and did Marnus play?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So how did you juggle that, I suppose, a bit of awe with, like, I actually do belong here, or was it a lot of uncertainty at that stage?
Yeah, there's definitely, I think it's normal to have thoughts of like imposter syndrome and things like that. And that's something that I've definitely, I guess, you read in books and you hear on podcasts of other athletes that have gone through similar things. So I guess just like trying to get that perspective. And yeah, Jaden Goodwin actually said something pretty good. When he's like, obviously he's making it at that level now as well, and he puts it into terms of like they're just good club cricketers at the end of the day. So like I guess that's a good way to think about it. And I think just like you've done everything, you're at that level for a reason, and I think you just got to try and back everything that you've done to that point and trust your game. And yeah, I think it's good. It's good to not get caught up in who they are or their name, and just think they're on the same level as you. So yeah, I try not to get caught up in, I guess, everything to do with it and their names and stuff.
Well, yeah, no one has been ever gifted a Sheffield Shield game, and it's an amazing achievement. Whether you play more or not, you'll forever be a professional cricketer. You'll be a part of the past players club at some point, having played for Western Australia, and that in itself is a fantastic achievement. Tell us about the sort of, I suppose, the disappointment that's come on the back of that. You got out for a golden duck. It was a really nice ball from Garinda, nipped away, and you nicked it, and you didn't get a second innings. You kept well. You sort of did a lot of things right, but as we know, cricket's a ruthless and brutal game. Then it went into the Big Bash, and I know there was a lot of talk around WA, and I was really curious, is it going to be Jolie or are they going to go back to Philippi after the Big Bash period? And they went back to Flip. You didn't get another opportunity. Flip then left WA, and it was sort of, right, this is Joel's opportunity for a contract. They then brought in Baxter Holt, gave him the contract and not you. So you had this real high in December, followed by a lot of setbacks. How did you deal with things throughout that sort of period?
Yeah, it was pretty tough, and I think it was probably almost a little bit worse because everyone else was saying like, oh, you're going to get a contract and like all these things, and so yeah, it was disappointing at first, but it was actually, yeah, I actually went on a holiday to New Zealand with my partner and went to Bali, New Zealand, and things like that. So I guess that was good because I already had like some travel plans, which sort of took my mind off things, and allowed me to, I guess, yeah, to switch off from the season, and yeah, just have some really good people supporting me and around me, like yourself and other life mentors, and my partner's really supportive, and family and friends. So yeah, it was definitely disappointing at first, but I guess, yeah, once I just accepted it and it is what it is, and the decision's been made, and yeah, I guess moving on and then focusing on the next season ahead from there. But yeah, had a good time to switch off and just, yeah, move on.
And I know, like, I was chatting to you a lot throughout that period. I remember having calls in India when I was in India in April, and contracts were sort of being worked out and stuff, and you had all sorts of emotions, frustration, anger, disappointment, etc. But what you've done amazingly well is accept and move on and continue to focus on what you can focus on, what you can control, which is getting better. And the only thing that you can do is let the bat and the gloves do the talking for you. And you've come out 300s in 3 innings. You're doing exactly that. Tell us about your off season then. You find out they're bringing a guy in from interstate. You haven't got the contract. Tell us about how your off season looked. I think there's a lot of young players who would be watching what you're doing at the moment and would love to know, what is a guy who's at the top of his game and starts the season really well, what did his off season look like?
Yeah, I think, yeah, on top of that, I guess regardless if I was contracted or not, like I was going to have a pre-season where I'm going to try and be the best I could be and then keep playing cricket, obviously. So yeah, I guess it was yeah, obviously with the WA Academy, we had pre-season. I think it starts in like July, and so yeah, had a good time off and then got back into things there. Yeah, and just working closely with Trav Burt, who's helped me with a few technical things that I just needed to work on, to I guess prepare myself to try and play at the next level. And yeah, so I did a lot of technical work sort of the first few months of pre-season. And with the academy, we train at 6 a.m. We were training Monday and Monday and Friday mornings at 6 a.m. So we had a good crew there, and it was good to, I guess, get up early and get into training and things like that. So yeah, worked hard on my technical side of the game, and I guess from when I guess started playing cricket in the UK and Darwin and things like that, I've always chipped away at technical things, but probably haven't had a good solid block where I have focused on just technique. So that was quite good to, I guess, focus on that side of things.
And give us an insight into those technical things that you identified as an area of improvement.
Yeah, so I guess it was just, for me, mainly just accessing straighter down the ground, and a lot to do with my trigger and just making sure that my, I guess, body height stays as level as possible, just because it was at the point of release, it was just dropping a fraction. So I guess just trying to eliminate that as much as I could, which, yeah, helps me access straighter down the ground. And then, yeah, just continuing to work on back foot play and just scoring in all areas of the ground. But yeah, I guess, yeah, from there then was lucky to get selected in the Scorchers Academy team that went up to Darwin. It's a top end series there and up in Darwin, which you play about 5 or so T20 games. So yeah, went up to there to play some T20 cricket, and then following from that, went up to Queensland, or across to Queensland, and they have a T20 max competition there, and played in about 7 or 8 T20s there as well, which was really good for me, because obviously we play a little bit of T20 cricket here in Perth, but I guess you never get a good run at just playing T20 cricket. So I guess that was really good for my development in terms of T20 cricket.
And just so people know, the Darwin tournament was a selection thing. The Scorchers sent up a team, but you were very proactive to go and play in Queensland to try and get better, weren't you?
Yeah, 100%. Like I was. It was things worked out well for me to get up there, actually, because it was a pretty good competition where they were looking to, I guess, get Big Bash players to play, and a few things fell into place, and obviously know Liam Guthrie, who plays club cricket over there as well, and he hooked me up with the team, and it was really good comp.
And what did you learn in that period of sort of getting a good block of T20 cricket? What did you learn about yourself or your game or the game of cricket in that sort of 10 to 12 games that you got to play?
Yeah, I think going from training indoors and then going into playing games up in Darwin, those first few, I guess, those T20s up there, I felt like I kind of was still in training mode, and didn't do as well as I wanted, just because I feel like I was still in just that training mindset where you kind of can get into the habit of just, I guess, going through the motions, and I guess you're hitting on Astro, so you're not in that game mindset. So when I made the conscious, I guess, thought to make sure that when I go to play these games in Queensland, to really just forget about everything that I've done in training, and just, I know what, I guess, how I want to play the game, and really focusing on just getting in the contest, my routines, and trying to score runs. So, and that really, I think, flicked a switch again to, I guess, get into that the mindset that I play it best at, and just spending time out in the middle in Queensland. I had some good scores. I got a few 50s and I think at 80, and really found my game expanded in T20 cricket, which was good.
Awesome. So comparing Darwin, where you'd just come from indoors, to Queensland, was it that in Darwin you're a bit too internal, you were fiddling around with your own technique and things, and you said in Queensland it was just more like get in the contest?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I guess, because I was probably doing a lot of technical work, I guess, had to really switch and trust everything that I've done, and then just focus on those external things, and focusing on, my getting in the contest and scoring runs.
And it's not just the mental that needs to shift from training indoors in the winter, because that's all we've got available when it's wet outside, to then going outdoors. But I've been speaking to Chris Rogers a lot, and he's talking about how he sees a lot of young batters batting well indoors and they feel great about themselves. But then the challenge is so different in a match, because you play on a turf wicket, live grass that can nip, that can sort of bounce, can stay low, etc. And it's a really tough thing as a cricketer. And I say a lot, like in basketball, if you're a basketball, you get to go and train on a basketball court. If you're a tennis player, you get to train on a tennis court. Soccer player, you get to train on the soccer ground. Cricket, we train often in these Astro nets, and then we go out and bat on a big oval with a turf wicket. It's completely different, and managing the shift is not just a mental, but it's a technical thing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And then let alone going out and trying to play T20 cricket, which is, I guess, can kind of help because you don't have to have as much technical focus. It's more, just that tactical and obviously your swing and things like that. So, it was tough. And, you kind of like those games up and down, you just like, you kind of, just things like, just like calling between wickets and just little things like that, you just almost forget in when you're training indoors. So I guess, it does take a bit to adjust to it, I think.
Yeah, and give us an insight into your off-season training. You spoke about the block of technical work, which is obviously focused towards red ball cricket. And you're doing your training at the academy, which is given sort of structured for you, but you're also hitting with me, you're hitting with others, you're doing your own training. How much of your training was geared towards red ball and how much was geared towards white ball or T20?
It was mostly just, I guess, focus on those technical changes, which I guess will help me in mostly, I guess it helps in red and white ball. But I guess, in terms of, I guess T20 side of things, like I feel like I had most of those shots before, like I could access all areas of the ground. So I guess for me, it was more just, I guess, switching into that game mindset when I did start playing those games. But I feel like it was mostly technical side of things, but I knew I had the game to, I guess, go out there and play the shots that I wanted to play. So it wasn't of a case of like I needed to, I guess, practice these shots because I knew I had them already. So it was mostly just technical. Because
it's one of the tough things for a batter in this day and age is the swing is very different for power hitting and trying to sort of go big and hit bombs to normal traditional batting. So trying to be good at both is a real challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, I found in Queensland, because their boundaries are reasonably small compared to Perth, I felt like I was just able to hit good shots and I would still go for six. Whereas I guess in Perth, you've actually got to generate a lot of power to actually clear the rope. So, and you're facing pretty good bowlers that had decent speed. So I feel like, it was nice just being able to hit like good cricket shots and you could still get rewarded for that. It was good.
And now going back to sort of coming back from Queensland, you've done well in their competition up there. What did you set goals for the season? Are you sitting down and going, I want to do this, I want to score this many runs, I want to score this many hundreds, I want to play this many games? Or what was your, give our listeners and viewers an insight into your thoughts going into the season?
Yeah, I guess the type of person I am, I like to, I play better when like I'm more competitive and I have something to play for, I guess. And I guess I have a bit of a point to prove, and I think that really helps fuel me to, I guess, do better, especially, in training, whether it's pre-season and then just like leading up to games, like getting into that mindset. So, I think, sorry, can you remind me what the question was again?
Like, did you set any specific goals?
Yeah, that's right. I guess like I sat down with Trav at the end of the year and we have a bit of a review of your season, and I scored a lot of 50s. I think I would have scored like maybe 8 50s or something. so I guess, yeah, my goal was to, I guess, convert some of those 50s into hundreds, and that obviously will make your season look a lot better. So I guess, yeah, the goal was to obviously fix some of those technical things, but then convert a lot of my 50s to hundreds. So, which has been good seeing that I've been able to do that so far this season.
Absolutely. 339 runs at 169.5. It's the start any cricketer would dream of. And I've been asking a few guys of my age group or older, do you know of or remember of anyone getting 300s in a row? Because it's a pretty rare and unique feat. And I watched you bat on the live stream on the weekend, and it just looked like it was almost inevitable. I think you were 2 off 8, and then you clipped one over mid wicket, and you were away, and it just looked like everything was hitting the middle of the bat. Everything just looked so easy. Tell us about how you've been feeling before you go out and bat it. Is it this unbelievable belief and trust in yourself?
Yeah, it was this week. Last week was actually quite interesting. I actually felt quite nervous because I was like, geez, I'm actually expected to get 300s. Like everyone's like, oh, try and get 3. And so it was I almost felt a little bit more expectation. But I don't know, it was just like, I kind of didn't know how someone was going to get me out. And I just kind of, had the belief that I knew I was probably going to get 100 again unless I got myself out. So, I guess, I don't know, I've been in a similar patch to this before where, everything's happening, and I guess, making sure I do the things, what I've done well to, I guess, score those runs, just keep trying to replicate that as much as I can. But it's pretty simple in terms of, I guess, not trying to overthink things and just staying pretty clear.
I remember when you were in England and you think you got 180 in a game, and I sent you a voice note saying, like, stay hungry, like, go again. And then we spoke the next week and you said that helped really fire you up again, and you got 100 the next week. So what's is it still the point to prove? Like, what's driving you to go and get 4? Because there's nothing stopping you going, it's a new innings, a new game, and you've got to start again. But the form you're in, the way you're batting, there's nothing stopping you from going 4 or 5 or 6.
I guess not. So, I guess I just got to keep trying to do what I've done the previous weeks. And, I'm the type of person that stays pretty relaxed. And I guess for me, it's just making sure that I actually switch on and focus on, my routines. And I guess whatever the game situation is, like we've been lucky, we've batted first the last 3 games. So I guess, just doing what the game needs at that time and trying to do it again, I guess.
Yeah, and how are you managing? Because once you get 100, often you walk out to bat the next week feeling great about yourself. You might play a silly shot and get out early because you're feeling so good. You got 200s in a row and you walked out to bat. It did seem like you were playing with this real freedom on the weekend, but also you did play sensibly. You played every ball on its merit. You took a risk when you needed to take a risk. You're obviously executing things. I think you played the lap sweep really well on the weekend. How are you not getting ahead of yourself and also managing the risk while batting?
I think I was on the weekend, I guess, just reacting to the bowling that was coming down, and round 1, Junior Luck bowled quite well, and it was a tougher pitch to score off, and I'd only hit a couple boundaries, and I guess just adjusting to that and realising that it's going to be a bit tougher, and obviously hitting gaps and running hard was the way I was scoring, and I guess just being okay with that. But then obviously when you get on a decent wicket and you got obviously you might have more balls to score off, just depending how well the team's bowling, and that just, I guess, flowed nicely on the weekend. But I guess it's just reacting to what the game needs at that time, and and if they're bowling well, I'm happy to just respect that, and depending on what the wicket is doing as well. But also, I guess, if I know I have a matchup that I like or a shot that I want to play, I back myself to play it, and and when things are going well, everything just seems to be going well at the same time.
We're just taking a break from this episode for a minute to tell you about the cricket mentoring community. We're on a mission to build the world's best community of cricketers, coaches, and parents. So no matter where in the world you live or what level you're at right now, the cricket mentoring community can help you. If you're committed to your game and serious about becoming the best cricketer you can be and person you can be off the field, then join cricketers from over 24 countries around the world in the cricket mentoring community. Get access to myself and other CM mentors and experts from around the world as we aim to teach you the 6 pillars of success: technical, tactical, mental, emotional, physical, and lifestyle, so that you can become the best you can be. If this excites you and you're ready to take the next step in your journey, then click on the link in the description below and join the cricket mentoring community now. And so there's a couple of things there. I think one is you're batting with no ego. And I think if you're coming off 200s, a lot of people might think, I can hit him over his head third ball, or I can run down and do this. But like I say, I think you were just taking each and every ball as it came. And if you saw an option you liked, you fully committed to it, whether it was a reverse sweep or a lap sweep or a slog sweep or running down or whatever. So you're not trying to invent things and look good or like try and be dominating. You're just going about your business. And you're able to adapt and accept the situation. So I guess one thing that I think our young viewers could really learn from is in that first game, I think you were 100 not out. You got up to your 100 on the last or second last ball of the innings, and you got Perth to about 200, which turned out to be a winning score. I think you might have won by 35 or 40 runs. Whereas on the weekend, you got to 260, again a winning score. But how do you, when you're out in the middle, how do you go about batting first, formulating a plan for what's a winning score? Because you got no idea really until the other team bats. But how would, on that first innings, that first game when you got 100 against Joondalup, team gets 200, did you decide that was a decent enough score, which meant you didn't have to slog with 10 overs to go?
I think against Joondalup it was, we I guess scraped in to get that. Would have liked to get a little bit more, but we know on that type of low wicket that it's tough to score and the outfield's a little bit slower, so we knew we could defend that. But I guess on the weekend it was an interesting one because Fanners was batting and he said in the first few overs, he's like, anything around 200 is going to be a good score on this wicket. But then I obviously came out to bat and I guess found ways to score a little bit easier than he did at that time. We're able to, I guess, put a good partnership together and I guess make the most of that, having wickets in hand the last 10 overs. So I think the best thing to do when you're batting first is just like not to put a score in your head too early, because like you never know on the day how you're going to bat and what the bowlers are going to do as well. Like you might really struggle and struggle to score, or you might have a day where you hit the gaps and things work out well and you get more than expected. So I think it's never judging or putting a score in your head, but just reacting to how the bowlers are going and making the most of, I guess, the matchups throughout the game. Like if you have a matchup that you like, if it's in the 25th over and they've got mid-off and mid-on up, like back yourself to hit over the top. But but also realising, I guess, the score that is going well at the time. So I think, I guess you got to have a thought in the back of your head of what's a decent score, but also just adjusting to whatever the game's doing as well.
Yeah, and one thing you've done so well over the last 3 weeks is manoeuvre the ball and manipulate spin. You're able to score all around the ground, and you've been able to get off strike. And I think that was the difference between you and Fanners, having watched the innings closely. Fanners obviously went on, got 100 as well, batted beautifully, but he was a little bit more stuck against spin, and then he'd play some big, nice shots. Tell everyone, like obviously I've seen it working with you over the last 8 years or so. I've seen it firsthand. We've worked really closely on this, but give everyone an insight on how much importance you have put on practicing your scoring options against spin.
Yeah, it was something that I sort of realised on round 2, or even round 1. I probably struggled to score off the back foot against spin. So I guess coming into on the weekend, like really, I guess having a emphasis on really trying to score like front foot and back foot, and not getting, I guess, bogged down to spin. But I guess it's something that I've worked on a lot over the years, and I think just having shots in your, I guess, your arsenal that you can use at different times, but also like if you don't need to play them, you can be happy just scoring ones. But I guess it's just adjusting to what the spinner's doing. If it's turning, like the off spinners on the weekend weren't really turning it, so I felt quite comfortable coming down and using my feet. But I guess if they were turning it a bit, I'd probably try and stay in my crease a little bit more, and potentially might try and sweep a little bit more. So I guess it just depends on the spinner and what the pitch is doing as well.
I've been using you as an example to players this week, talking exactly what you've just said around. You've developed all the options over the years. You've learnt, you've got a great reverse, you've got a good lap, you've got a good hard sweep, you can slog sweep, you can run down. But as you just said, I think what you've done really well, and what I think the best players do, is they work out, what do I need today? I don't need all my weapons today, but what's my best options? Is it to just hang back and cut because they're bowling a bit short, it's turning, it's holding, I can sit back and cut? Do I need to use my sweep today, or do I not need to use my sweep today? And that's something I think you've done so well, is look around the field, identify where the gaps are, work out what the wicket's doing, and then formulate a plan. Is that something you're really thinking about, or is that coming to you because you've played a lot of cricket now? Is that something that's come to you quite naturally, that, okay, I don't need to worry about this shot, or you just it happens a bit more instinctively?
Yeah, I think in white ball cricket, it happens a lot more instinctively. Like if 45's quite square and it's just an off spinner, like I'm gonna lap, like I'm just gonna, like, I know I can hit that shot. So, but like it depends on, I guess, the risk that's involved. But like if they have 1 point and they're, I guess I know I'm gonna reverse, because you can maneuver the field and you can take that proactive option. And you can play the game on your terms, I guess. And whether that's mid off or mid on up and hitting over the top to, I guess, get one of those guys back, so then you can maneuver and hit singles and control the game a bit more. But I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I think is a great insight to any young person listening, is that's what the best players are willing to do. And you talk to Wellesley or Philippi and guys I've worked with, and Wellesley's obviously your teammate. And like yourself, good players are willing to take a risk early to then be able to play on their terms a bit more than no risk and being forced into a big risk, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Now, take us into your mindset. What are you thinking about before you go out and bat? You spoke about you're really relaxed. You're just chilling. I was at the first game. You were really relaxed before you went out and batted. Obviously, I came and presented a couple of caps, and you've always been a really relaxed guy. But also, you're walking out to bat, your starting routine, and then in between balls. Let us know, our viewers and audience know a little bit about your mindset.
Yeah, I think, because I'm quite relaxed. For me, it's I guess getting myself up for the contest, and I guess depending on how I'm feeling, I guess before I'm batting, like, I might need to use a bit of self-talk to, I guess, get myself up and about a bit to get in the contest. And so I guess that's dependent on, how I'm feeling, I guess, in the morning, or I guess before I go out to bat. But I guess I like to stay pretty relaxed and just before I go out to bat, and I guess try and get a little bit of information of, I guess, what the pitch is doing, what the bowlers are doing, anything from the batters. But then I guess, making sure that once I cross that white line that I'm switching on and got my routines, I guess, as I run out onto the field, and then just focusing, on my routine, like my pre-ball routine, and then making sure that I'm switched on, and just focusing on that ball as much as I can.
What's your pre-ball routine? How are you going about it?
It's pretty simple. So I guess, like, I go out there and mark my guard, and I just focus on, like my left foot and right foot goes down. I tap twice. Then I like to just feel the bat in my hands a bit. Then I sort of, I guess just feel balance, and then just tell myself to, watch the ball. Or maybe before that, I'm just thinking straight, watch the ball, and then just react.
And then post ball, if you've played and missed, you've hit a boundary, does it change? What do you do as soon as the ball's finished and you've there's no run, or you've run a two and you're back in, you're sort of at the striker's end? What happens next?
Yeah, I guess after the ball, I just try and, I guess after playing lots of cricket, you kind of just pick up information and you realise, oh, this is what the bowler's doing. I guess it's doing a little bit of this, or if it's nipping or swing. So I guess just trying to sum up what's going on, and I guess how the bowler's trying to get me out. But I guess it's just a quick thought. And then I guess it's just like switching off, and depending on how long the bowler's run up is, and then I'd walk away a little bit, and then when I walk back, just telling myself to switch on, or a bit of self-talk to just get myself, all right, come on, Joel, let's focus on this next ball, like win this next ball, or just get through this next ball. Like I have days where everyone has those days where the voice in the back of the head's a little bit louder. So I think it's just on those days being able to really nail down on your routines to get yourself in that present moment. But then you have days where like that voice isn't as loud, and you're a bit more relaxed and things happen a bit more naturally.
Yeah. You spoke about playing a lot of cricket. You're nearly 25. This is your 7th season of first grade cricket, but in and around that, you've spent time in playing cricket in the winter. You went 2 seasons in the UK, one at Crouch End where you dominated, one up north. You went up to Darwin. How much importance do you think that has had, or how big of an impact do you think that has had on the cricketer you are today?
Oh, massively. I think when I look back on those years, like everything that sort of clicked for me as a cricketer has always been when I've been in the UK, when I've been in Darwin, or when I went to Queensland. So it's always been, I guess, in those environments, I guess, away. And it's not saying that that wouldn't have happened if I just stayed in Perth, but I guess like me and you've spoken about it before, I guess it fast tracks, I guess, you're playing more cricket and you're going to learn things a lot faster, and you're going to get the hang of things a lot faster. So, and just different experiences and life experience. So I think, you grow, you mature a lot faster as a person. And I think cricket, you've got to have things going outside of cricket as well to, I guess, help you as a cricketer too.
Well, I shared a post on Saturday after you got your 3rd 100 in a row, and I wrote, you've trained as hard as anyone I've seen over the last 8 years, and there was periods where you were home in the winter and you were hitting thousands of balls in the winter. I think you and Doki hit thousands of balls together one year, and then you went to England, or it was England, COVID, and you were in Perth, England, Darwin, and you've got to make sacrifices, don't you? Because you were sort of sacrificing and putting on hold the rest of your life while you were chasing this cricket dream, weren't you?
100%. Yeah, it's a tough thing. I guess, you got to, it's hard not to compare to your mates that you went to school. They might be going to university and getting good jobs and saving lots of money. But I guess in that moment, that's what was making me happy and what I wanted to do. And I think when you look back, when you're 30, 35, older, you don't want to look back.
Not that old.
You don't want to look back and regret anything you did. So, I think, you got to make sacrifices for sure. And, even if things don't go as planned, like I think I'm never going to regret like going to the UK and playing cricket. Like you're never going to regret that. So, it's definitely, and I think Gary V, he's a, social media like entrepreneur guy, and he always talks about it like he started his business when he was 30 years old, and he always puts it into perspective of like in your 20s, you're so young, just go out there and make mistakes and have fun and figure out what you want to do. So
absolutely. And one part of your story, which I think is really incredible, is you had in your last year in England, you dominated in the Middlesex League, as we've spoken about. But you played some second team cricket. You played a little bit for Middlesex. You played at Worcester, and there was an opportunity for you to go back and really give county cricket a good crack. But you decided not to. And there's some people that might look at that and go, "What are you doing? You want a career as a professional cricketer?" But obviously things in your life were different. You had a girlfriend who you loved and you wanted to be with, and you genuinely, I remember you saying to me, if I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it in WA. And you really backed yourself in that period, didn't you?
Yeah, I think, I had a few seasons obviously over there, and it's hard to beat the life that we have in Australia. And I think obviously I do have my personal training business outside of cricket. I just couldn't see I could live with, I guess, not being a professional and giving it a crack here. And I guess if I became a professional over there, and I don't think I would be that happy because I'm away from family. I'm away from the life that I enjoy here. So I was quite happy just to, I guess, give it a crack here and see where things ended up. And and whatever it happens, I guess I'll be happy with that, just as long as I guess gave it 100%.
And at that stage, I think you weren't that close. Like you still were quite away from WA, but I think early that next season you got 100 against Fremantle. Might have been your first grade 100, and then things have gone really well. Your keeping's always sort of progressed and gotten better. You've made team of the year in the WACA Premier Comp quite a few times. But yeah, it was a brave move to say, no, even though I'm pretty close in England, I've done well in England, I'm going to back myself here. Let's change the pace a little bit. You just spoke about your personal training business, your other great passion in life. You really take your body and your health very seriously. Tell us about how you get away from cricket and that part of your life with your personal training business, but also the importance of your own physical health.
Yeah. So I guess, PT has always been something that I've been pretty passionate about. Like after school, I went into being an electrical apprentice and quickly realised that's not what I wanted to do. And then, went down the PT path. And I guess that's just been a passion of mine, just being healthy and a way of helping other people as well. And I guess it's just given me that flexibility to, train and play cricket and things like that. So, I guess switching off from cricket's pretty easy for me. I've obviously got work, and I guess as a PT, a lot of the times you're solving other people's problems. So it takes that, you got to think past yourself. You can't think of yourself too much because you've got to help other people. So I think doing things like that, or whether it's cricket coaching, for cricket mentoring, helping other people, I think that takes the eyes off yourself. I've got me and Cassie got a golden retriever. We like taking him for walks and enjoying time with him, going for coffee, spending time with friends, traveling. We're doing a few Bali retreats each year at the moment. So I guess doing things like that, So I guess got a lot of things that I'm passionate about outside of cricket. So I guess cricket is just another thing that I do that I enjoy, basically.
From the time I met you, I think you were 16, and I found an old video of our net session of ours from about 7 years ago the other day. You have become a very good learner, someone who's quite curious about the world and about life and people. Do you have any sort of good book or podcast recommendations for any young people listening to this?
Yeah, it's funny thinking back on those times because I was thinking about it the other day. I was literally we've almost known each other for 10 years and it's gone so fast. But you got me onto listening to podcasts like this Lewis Howes and things like that. And I remember you said, they're going to be a bit out there, but just have a listen and see what you think. And I guess I've never looked back and just found that stuff really interesting. But I guess some really good books that have helped me and podcasts over the journey is, really good book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. That's by Mark Manson. That's a really good book just to, I guess, caring less about what other people think, and that he's got a really good perspective. And I think Mindset by Carol Dweck, that's a really good book just to, I guess, really put yourself in a growth mindset and always continuing to learn. And then there's some just like autobiographies that are really good that just, I guess, give you inspiration to other people's backgrounds and journeys. And then podcasts, there's some really good ones like Finding Mastery. I forgot his name.
Michael Gervais.
Yeah, he's really good. And then the High Performance podcast, that's really good. But yeah, I like a lot of podcasts, I guess. Just listening to people's stories, just getting perspective from other people's life that have it probably a lot harder than what we have it here.
Yeah, and yeah, same sort of stuff I listen to. Awesome content. Tell us about your own physical training. What are you doing in season, out of season to be the best athlete you can be?
Yeah, so last year I had quite a few back problems just from too much cricket. So this year I really had an emphasis on trying to get on top of that. So yeah, this pre-season I was doing Pilates once or twice a week, which I found really has helped me, I guess, so far navigate any imbalances or strengthening up like your glutes and your lower back and your core. So I think that's really helped this pre-season. But yeah, I guess in terms of the strength and conditioning side of things, just making sure I stay on top of my gym program. It's just, I guess, maintaining, just trying to keep your strength up while you're playing. That's a massive role as well. And I guess naturally I've always been, I guess, pretty fit running wise, but yeah, I guess with the WA Academy, I guess just following the running that we have there, which is at the moment in seasons only once a week. Just staying on top of that, and yeah, I guess just trying to stay injury free and stay on the park basically. So just keeping my gym loads up and trying to do Pilates as well, which I find that helps.
What are the core things of physical when you train athletes? Because you're training quite a few cricketers. You've got your online coaching for personal training, and anyone who's interested can contact Jolie. But what are the physical sort of things, your foundations, I guess, your focus on when you're building a program for someone?
Yeah, I guess it's very dependent on the person. Just, I guess, depending on what their previous history is and injuries and things like that. But I guess any strength program, and for any athlete, the more stronger you are, the more robust your joints and muscles are going to be. So I guess, yeah, having a good strength block before the season is obviously ideal to build up that strength. And then I guess in season, it's just trying to maintain that strength in the gym. But I guess, yeah, for myself, for an example, I guess being a wicket keeper, focusing on things like hip mobility is really important. And I guess my flexibility in hamstrings and lower back and things like that, I guess helping myself be more mobile in those positions. And yeah, you can do certain things in the gym to help strengthen in those positions as well. But yeah, I guess there's universal laws that same as anything, like, yeah, so just focusing on those, on being strong in those movements that you're going to get exposed to out in the field. But then, yeah, especially in season, really having an emphasis on your recovery as well. So there's a recovery score thing that you can do, like a good sleep's worth like 60 points and ice bath's worth 20 points, things like that. So good nutrition. I've also invested some money into a sauna and ice bath myself, so jumping into that as much as I can, and yeah, I guess just trying to recover as best I can.
Awesome. Now, we've spoken a lot about your batting because that's what's going incredibly well at the moment with 300s in a row, but how do you juggle trying to become the best keeper you can be? And give us an insight. The word through the whacker was that Baxter got the contract because he was a little bit better keeper, but how are you working on your keeping, and what are you working on, and how are you juggling being the best batter you can be with being the best keeper you can be?
Yeah, I think this pre-season I've definitely focused on becoming a better wicket keeper. Obviously, I've still worked on my batting, but I felt like, yeah, the part of my game that had to improve was my keeping, and that's something I've really worked hard at this year. As well with WA, and a part of the Rod Marsh passing, the WACA got like a grant to invest into some wicket-keeping coaches and put that out into the club cricket. So, yeah, I've been working with Andy Gregg, who used to play first grade at Melville. He's really helped me, just been doing sessions and Damo from the WACA as well has really helped with that. And I guess the biggest thing, and it's the exact same as batting, is just getting the volume you need. And I guess because I went into wicket keeping when I was, 18, 19, I had to catch up on a lot of that volume and gain volume. So I guess for me, it's just, making sure that, I'm training enough to, get those repetitions in, which, has helped my wicket keeping a lot. And there was a few technical changes as well, but that I had to make, same as my batting. So, it's just all been volume, lots of volume. So that, this pre-season, I was catching probably twice per week, 2 like good hour sessions. In season, just trying to catch minimum once per week, and then obviously got the games as well. So,
Awesome. Now, we're going to wrap up. So, looking ahead, are you setting goals in terms of runs for the rest of the season? Are you setting goals in terms of you want to play for WA again, or are you just trying to stay present, trying to stay in the now, and trying to be the best you can be?
Yeah, obviously I had goals on trying to improve on the things that I did last season, and obviously I have aspirations that I want to play for WA again, which is a big driving force for me. So I haven't set any goals for the season specifically, but I think if I just do the best I can, and I guess I probably haven't set goals because I'm unsure of what the outcome is, and which is, you never gonna know the outcome, but I guess if I know I can put my best foot forward and give 100%, hopefully things line up and do well. But if not, so I haven't set goals, but I guess I probably have goals in the back of my mind that I haven't written down, but I guess that's...
You're not too focused on them.
Yeah.
And you're doing what you've got to do, and that's just put performances on the board and hopefully be ready if and when the next opportunity comes. It could be next week, could be next year, might never be, but being as ready as you possibly can be. And you should be, commended, well done on the start to the season, but more than that, well done on the way you handled the setbacks. Well done on what you've done this far, but it's still such a young journey. You're still only just about to turn 25. You've still got all your best cricket ahead of you, and as long as you stay hungry and keep working hard, you're only going to keep getting better, which is exciting. And you're already the premier, or one of the premier batters in grade cricket, and the next step is transitioning that into the level above if you get an opportunity. So, Jolie, it's been a pleasure listening more to this story. A lot of the stuff I already knew, obviously, but it's been a pleasure being a part of the journey and watching you grow on and off the field. On the field, you've become such a fantastic cricketer, but off the field, you're also such a great person. You're doing great things, and you're a good guy. So congrats on everything, and look forward to seeing what's next.
Cheers, Skulls. Thanks.
Thanks again for coming on. If you enjoyed this episode or any of our content, then please do me a big favour and subscribe to our channel. The more subscribers we get, the bigger the guests we can get on and continue to help you on your journey of becoming the best you can be.